Hi guys, welcome back to the DNB podcast. This is episode 5. My name's Nodus.
And I'm Embr, and today we've got a super exciting guest. So we're chatting to Nathan X from all the way over in the UK. So Nathan X is the UK's and possibly the world's first drum and bass drag queen. So very excited for this one. So a lot of exciting things and probably topics that you've never heard before or even thought about. So yeah, join us for the ride. Hope you enjoy it.
Your webcam is like ridiculously good quality.
Yeah.
I know, it does look really good. It doesn't normally look this good. I think it's just, I've got three studio lights just here, so nice. I'm being lit up.
Nice. Looks good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I was thinking to kick it off, it'd be cool if you can tell us a bit about yourself, because obviously we're over the other side of the world and there'll be a few people here that don't know about you. So yeah, tell us a bit about you.
The other side of the world. Daunting. So I am Nathan X. I boldly title myself what do I title myself? My mind's gone blank. The UK's first drag queen drum and bass DJ, possibly even the world. I mean, I think there are a few people who have, got into drag and, DJ'd before, but I don't feel like there's no like official drag queen as such. So yeah. That's who I am. Over in the UK, I've also started a thing called UNORTHODOX, which is the first, again, another bold claim, the first queer drum and bass sort of event series, movement, community. And yeah, that's me really.
Yeah, amazing.
Pioneer.
Definitely want to hear awesome. More about like UNORTHODOX and how that came to be. So I guess that would be a cool way to kick it off. So what's UNORTHODOX all about and how did you start that?
So basically, I guess I'll give you the whole story because the whole story sort of encompasses like my journey and how UNORTHODOX came to be and how it all came to be. Yeah. So basically, I've been into drum and bass for like many, many years. And I must have started listening to it when I was back at school. Like I'm now 24 years old. So that's a good, like, maybe possibly like 10 years almost, maybe like 8. I probably started listening when I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
So I've always been into it. And when I went to university, I obviously got into the scene. I started DJing it quite a lot, got into like venues and clubs. But like me as like a person who I was, like, I don't know what it's like, over where you guys are, but like drum and bass in the UK can be quite like regimented. Like there's like a look and an aesthetic and like that's it. And everyone sort of dresses the same. No one like really expresses themselves. Everyone's got the same sort of style of mixing, to a point that, I wasn't fit in. I was young when I got into the scene and, started DJing and I wanted to fit in. So I spent many years doing just that. I just wore what everyone else wore, played the same songs that everyone else played. Yeah. And I really loved it and I thought that was all to me at that point. But basically after I left university, I kind of just like had a break. I sort of stepped away from it a little bit. And I actually went and discovered my my queer identity, which is something I'd not really done. Like, although I was like in the scene and like I had a boyfriend and I was open about it, I hadn't really like explored myself as like a queer human being. Like, because at school, for example, I just, again, tried to fit in. And at university, same sort of thing, just tried to fit in. So when I kind of went away from all that and decided, when I got to the point in my life and decided, okay, I'm now going to, learn more about myself and express myself. So I got very much into like the queer scene in London. I went lots of gay clubbing, got loads of gay friends, which I'd never really done before. I never really had before. So that was interesting. I realised that I could dress a bit more, camp, and I actually quite liked it. I could wear crop tops and, it felt good. And I started having my nails done. I started having like all these other things done, wearing makeup. And, at that time I sort of thought, okay, I'm done with drum and bass. Like it's not for me. I've had that bit of my life. I'm ready to move on now. And that was kind of where I was at until I sort of realized I actually wasn't that happy. And although I spent a long time kind of like trying to get into this queer scene, I actually realized that it's quite bitchy, and like no one was actually my friend, and like everyone was just like out for their own sort of weird reasons. So although I felt like I found my clique, you know, I got to the point where I realized actually it wasn't my clique, and I still wasn't quite at peace with myself and what I wanted to do and who I am. So, you know, at that sort of time, I was like, why do I feel like this? What am I missing? And I was like, you know what? I really fucking miss drum and bass. I love going to rave. I love getting sweaty. But like at that point, I'd moved from Brighton down south back to London. I kind of like lost all my drum and bass friends. I was like quite like on the outskirts of it. I didn't really know how to get back into it. Yeah. And I thought, you know, maybe I should get back into promoting, get back into DJing. I'm sure I'll start meeting some like-minded people. But I didn't want to, I changed so much. I didn't see how I could go back to being that like person I was before. And I didn't want to just go back to just fitting into a box. And then they started bringing up all these questions like, why am I fitting into a box? Why did I do that for so long? Why do so many other people do that? And, you know, in my time as well, I've, you know, met other, you know, queer DJs but they're just like not open about it. There's, you know, there's a lot of people who you could say are in the closet or who haven't been honest with themselves, or they're just suppressed who they really are just because they don't feel like it's the right scene to be, that you can be yourself in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I basically went one day, I know, I'm going to put on a queer drum and bass rave and let's see what happens. So I went into a Facebook group called DNB Talk.
Yes,
if you're familiar with it.
Yes, yes.
And I just did a little post. I didn't think anything would come of it. I just wrote one little post, and it was, what would everyone think of a queer drum and bass rave? Same sort of music as standard, but a little bit more fabulous. Everyone is welcome. And that was key. Everyone is welcome. Because, you know, last thing I want to do is exclude, like, oh, sorry, you're straight, you can't come. Like, that's not my goal. That's not my aim. It's about sort of, you know, adjusting the scene and, you know, changing opinions and expectations. So, and to my surprise, like I looked back like an hour later and there was already like 200 comments, and like it was just like started blowing off. I think it was one of the biggest like comment threads in that group there's ever been, because when I eventually, it was over 800 comments, like over like 1,000 people had voted. It was a poll, like over 1,000 people had voted. It just went out of control, and like, yeah, there were like so many beautiful comments, like just what we need, like this will be great. But for every like great comment, there was just like all this homophobia, like it was horrible, like people being like, I wouldn't have a problem with like this, you know what I mean? Like all these like bullshit stories, really. People say that like gay people are predators and like all this stuff, and saying that there's no place in drum and bass, no grounding to it. And like at that time, I think I wasn't like, I guess I like to think of myself as like a bit of a like queer figurehead in drum and bass, but at that time I wasn't, and I didn't really know what I got myself into. And it kind of just went from like being a little post to turning into something that's actually way more political. And you know, you've got to like look back through the history of drum and bass and its roots and work out why this issue exists, why so many people are suddenly indifferent to it and want drum and bass to be this, you know, in a box regimented thing. So obviously I was like, well, I can't let, you know, this is such a big thing, I'm not just going to let it die out. What can I do? So I decided to go about trying to organize this event. And that's exactly what I did. I went and filmed a promo video. I got into drag. This is also sort of when my like drag persona, Nathan X, was born. It kind of came together hand in hand, if that makes sense. Because I was like, absolutely. I've done drag once, but I didn't think there was a way to be like a drag queen and a drum and bass DJ. So I sort of like, it was born together, if that makes sense, to go hand in hand. And I went ahead planning the first event, but it got cancelled because of coronavirus. So it eventually happened in September, but it was socially distant, so it was all sort of sat down, not quite the sort of launch I wanted it to be. But, you know, in that time, like what we've done, you know, from the, you know, the conception, like beginning of January to like the event in September, like we, you know, made hurdles because we actually built a community. And I think that's kind of the most important thing. It was like, at first, it's like, well, who is queer in the drum and bass scene? How do you like filter them out? How do you find them? And I think, I don't know if you ever saw them, but I started doing what I call drag and bass streams. And I was in this room here over the lockdown. And like, I think it was like every couple of weeks or once a month, I like got into drag. I made like a little set up here. I had some like mannequins and stuff.
That's awesome.
And I just started doing these drag and bass streams, and those are what sort of like helped it grow, because people were like, "What? This is crazy!" And like it was like, you know, it was like recognizable, because I tried to play music that was, in circulation at the time, so I attract people in, but I always wanted to show them how it can be done a little bit differently, and people loved it, and that sort of started bringing people out and like bringing more people towards unorthodox and what we did. And we're in the process of still building a community, but I think that's sort of one of the most important things of what we're doing. It's about people around, if that makes sense. Absolutely. So we did our first event, and that's all we've done thus far. And we've got some more stuff planned, but we can get to that in a little bit. But that is the story of me and Unorthodox and how it came to be.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I like that you got this community started just from this one post, basically, and your whole persona came from that in a way. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I bet you weren't expecting that.
Well, no, I think like at first, I think I was quite naive. I thought, I'm going to put this queer event on, and it's going to be fabulous. In a way, I'm kind of glad that coronavirus stopped it, because we didn't have a community and we didn't have any reach. So chances are no one would have come. But,
that's
so I'm grateful in that respect, because, I guess the time of not doing an event gave me the time to sort of like turn it into a brand, turn it into something. Like we have a website, we got a Facebook group, we got a Facebook chat. We did a couple of meetups where we chatted on Zoom, and I was in drag and I did a bit of DJ. And, I think like, although like I think part of what we do is going to be about the tight knit community. Obviously we want, Unorthodox to grow and be successful and do major events of, 2,000 capacity people. But I think, the starting point is going to be really important to have our close community who are going to sort of like help us spread, the love, if you will, and show other people in drum and bass that it's, you can go to a queer drum and bass event and probably have a better time.
Yeah. Like you can just be your true self and not have to worry about what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, because even like you take straight people to gay clubs and they're like this is so much fun. Like you don't have to, do you know what I mean? You don't. It's just a certain vibe and an element, and that's going to be really important to like the future of our events as well. Like it's not just going to be labelled a queer drum and bass event. It's going to be queer. Like you're going to come. You're going to see, club kids, drag queens, people dressed up in all sorts of crazy stuff. We're going to have like lip syncs, drum and bass lip syncs. It's going to be a queer event, but it's just going to be drum and bass music.
Yeah,
man, I love the sound of that. Hey,
yeah,
that sounds so cool. Because queer places, they do have this feeling of acceptance and like just do your thing. And be whoever you are. And like one of the biggest venues for drum and bass in Perth is a gay club. It's called The Court. Yeah. And so it's just. What's
it called?
It's called The Court.
Oh, The Court.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Like once the drum and bass is over, I think it's like generally a 7 or 8 hour show, and then it just turns into a gay club again, and it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, just come on with like ABBA and just all the cheesy dance floor hits,
Kylie
and it's
Minogue.
just like back to normal.
Yeah,
and it's amazing because like the bartenders just dress as they want. Like they'll wear the crop tops, they'll be in full drag sometimes, and it's awesome. But I mean, we have heard of some people not feeling safe or accepted at the Court, just because it's been like a drum and bass crowd. It's not like a specifically queer event. So there've been some people who've like experienced some like I guess bullying or that sort of thing there, which really sucks. But I guess for the most part, most of the drum and bass crowd are like very accepting and happy to be there, and acknowledge that it is a gay club. So that's really cool, but there's still a way to go. Yeah.
No, 100%. And I think that is just it. Like, I get even in the UK, I get that like the majority of people are great and lovely and don't care, but it takes one dickhead to push you or say something. It's going to ruin your night, and it's just what I mean, like. I guess, you can never really generalize with these things. Like, no one here is saying, I think that's the problem as well with like a lot of, the original posts, like a lot of people being like, well, I'm not this and I'm not that. And I'm like, it's not really a generalization, it never is. But it does just take one dickhead to ruin someone's night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it looked like a lot of people took that post the wrong way and kind of felt like they were being excluded. But I think, like, as you described, it's totally the opposite. You were saying everyone is welcome. So it's a shame that people took that the wrong way. And I saw some of the comments on your video exposing homophobes of drum and bass.
Yeah.
Really threatened and for no reason.
Yeah, like just really insecure sounding. It's just ridiculous. Like.
Yeah, and the thing that really annoyed me was the people saying, like, it's not even a problem, like, you're just trying to make drama. It's like, well, you wouldn't know that it's a problem because it doesn't affect you, so how could you know, you know? Yeah,
exactly. It's so easy for them to be like, oh, the gay is so dramatic, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's just like, unless you experience that, you probably have no idea what it's like, hey?
No, exactly. And, like, you know, I've never had anything... For me personally, I've never had anything horrible and detrimental happen to me. I've just had a few comments here. If I, go out quite exposed or wearing a crop top, you know, it's like, why are you wearing that?
Yeah.
People ask it like that. But I have a friend who's a club down in Brighton, and like he was there there was a whole documentary on BBC about him. But basically, he was down in a Brighton club, and he saw Brighton's supposed to be very sort of like open with the gays. It's like one of the gay capitals of the UK, along with Manchester. And he was down in the club, and let me think what happened. Apparently, him and his boyfriend were just getting some very odd looks from like some people across the club. So they just thought, all right, let's leave because this is a bit worrying.
Yeah.
And these guys followed them out and literally beat them almost to death, like on the side curb. And they like one of them was blinded for like a month. The others like got like permanent injuries. Like, you know, it does happen. And like these guys are now in jail.
Fucking hell, that's insane.
That's horrible. That still happens, like in 2021. Like it's just crazy.
I know. In like westernized countries, it does happen. Like it's far and few between, but you know it does happen.
Yeah,
and it sucks.
Was that a drum and bass gig? Did you say?
It was an underground music gig for sure. I'm not sure if it was definitely drum and bass, but it was in a venue that does do a lot of drum and bass.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's horrible. And it just goes to show, like, this is definitely something worth pushing for, like, making safer spaces for everyone.
Yeah, like, I saw a lot of people saying, that this is just the way it is, and, like, you know, this is humanity. And as you said, it's like, well, why not try and change that? Like, there's shit things about humanity that we can make better.
Exactly. You know, some of these comments being like, basically from those roots, like it's got no connection. I've had a conversation with someone people where I was trying to get something organised, and you know his view was very much sort of similar. He's like, you're better off going and doing this in house or something. And I was like, that's kind of the point of doing it in drum and bass. Yes, it might be more queer roots to something like house and garage, and you know that's another thing to think about, because any of the when are there queer drum and bass events? You get queer house events, techno events, garage events, hip hop events, any other genre pretty much except drum and bass.
Yeah. And why not bring it to the drum and bass?
Exactly. And you know, it kind of annoyed me when I was like told, well, maybe you should go and do some other music. Like I was like, that's not the point. You know, I'm trying to be different here. But like for me, I had to, you know, I also need to know that like what I'm talking about is right. So you know, I've done loads of research since I started this, and actually you can trace back pretty much all rave culture to queer and coloured communities. That's where it comes from. Yep. It was raving was, you know, born out of people who weren't accepted in society in, you know, America. So that was people of colour and that was queer people. And we come together and throw big fuck-off parties and have a good time. Yeah. And that's where raving comes from. And all sort of rave music, including drum and bass, stems from that original scene. Yeah. So you could even say that, you know, drum and bass is a queer thing initially. You know, rave culture generally is, but it's been forgotten. You know, if you take some of the like early people in the scene, such as MC Chickaboo or Jordana 187, they're queer. Jordana's trans. You know what I mean? Like there is that definitely that been lost, and you know it's been like whitewashed, straightwashed, and it's just a scene now where you know if you're straight white male DJ, you're going to do better than if you're queer, if you're a woman, if you're a person of colour. And it sucks, but I think people have switched onto it, because there's been some, absolutely amazing movements for people of color and for the women. And I guess I'm trying to do the queer side of it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy how it's just been lost in translation and, it's just become like taken over by
even despite
mostly guys.
Yeah. Like even despite the documentaries that have come out recently and just over the years, it still seems to be forgotten, even though it's been outlined a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing a great job bringing it to the forefront.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's about changing people's, opinions, and it will take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think that's important in terms of like how going forward, how artists are going to, how promoters are going to be booking people.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly grab the dog because she is going crazy.
No, that's okay. I was worried my dog might do that, but I've locked her away. So do you guys live together?
Yeah. We live together and we have 2 dogs. And every time we go to film a podcast, they decide it's time to start barking. So, sorry about that.
Oh.
This is Billy.
Cute. Oh, bless. I bring my dog, but I've got a big black lab, so she's not easy to pick up.
Shit. What's her name?
I can try.
Yeah, go on.
I'll get her at the end. Yeah. I'll get her towards the end.
We'll do a little doggy date at the end.
Yeah.
So
precisely.
Just kind of going back to like all of that and how Unorthodox came about. So how do you keep yourself positive and just keep yourself like putting yourself out there as your true self, even if you get like backlash?
Difficult question. I guess, for me anyway, like I've got personally, I've got so much stuff going on, like mentally, and like I've got, like life gets in the way, and sometimes I just want to like push myself more to be out there, but it's difficult, especially like trying to rebuild after the post-pandemic world. But like generally right now, like especially since the homophobe videos, I haven't had much backlash. Like it feels like those videos actually kind of worked.
Yeah.
And every time, like now when I do posts, like you do still get a bit of backlash, but it's like people are learning. Because especially after that first video, there was a load of backlash. That's why I ended up doing a second video.
Yeah.
Once the second video, one of the guys who reposted the first video was like, "Oh, what's this guy on about?" And then that's where a whole thread of like homophobia appeared. He did the same thing to the second video, and people started commenting. But like after, like I was like, "This gives me content for a third video." And then literally after the few posts, he deleted it, and that's why there's only been 2 of those videos. So I was like, okay, shit, he actually learned, because he knows I'm just going to call him out again if he does it. So, and although that video was very harsh, and there were like some very sweeping statements about like straight people, like I did it to prove a point that if you try and fuck with what's going on here, like you're going to get called out and be exposed to homophobe. So, it's quite a harsh tactic to change opinions, but it worked.
It worked, yeah. You got a name and shame for sure. Like sometimes it's just tough love. You just got to call people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard someone say recently you need to make waves to make change. So you got to.
That's what.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I didn't actually say anyone's names in that video. I changed them all. Apart from like once or twice. People were like, "Oh, you left the name in." And I was like, "Oh, crap. Fine, I don't care." But I had loads of people being like, "You should have just said their names." But like, that was one level too far for me.
It might be throwing more fuel on the fire if you do that. Hey.
Yeah.
Might
cause.
Yeah. I was like, exactly. I'm not going to lose things by not putting their names in. Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, what if, like, one of them's, like, some big festival owner or something, I've just shot myself in the foot, like. Yeah. I mean, although I wouldn't want to work with a homophobe host that, it would change opinions, but I wouldn't want to, like, call out anyone's action, do you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that.
I know what you mean. It's just not worth it.
You've got to be careful. You've got to think about, your own future and getting gigs and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. Was there any, like, kind of people who are kind of high up in the drum and bass community that were commenting anything negative on that post that you saw? like promoters or artists?
No one really big unless they fell through the cracks. There was just one guy who used to be someone but isn't anymore, but it's like him anyway. I won't say his name, but I think I referred. Yeah, and like apparently I've heard like he's written this whole book, and actually I managed to get hold of this book he wrote, but apparently he only sold like 8 copies or something. In this book, he just goes through talking about like everyone famous. It must have been like 15, 20 years ago. He works for like Renegade Hardware or something. And he has this book. He just goes through like every single like DJ at the time and like why he dislikes them or why he's had beef with them. And then he tells stories about like all the women he's fucked and like how he's taken them back to his house, but he's like showing them a weird route to their house so that when they try and leave, they don't know how to get out.
Oh my God.
Like it's all very like weird and rapey and yeah, this guy's bad news.
I can't believe you put that in a book. Fucking hell. Who would publish that?
I know.
That's insane.
No, I think it was a self-published, but I think he sent it to like proofreader who I'm friends with. She's a journalist, so she just forwarded it all, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever read.
Oh my God.
It's atrocious.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you know, when like you dislike someone already, but then that you just get like a further reason to dislike them.
It's like you love to hate them.
Yeah, I can't stop reading this. This is just making my life.
That's amazing.
Holy shit! I can't believe that, man. That's insane.
I know.
I was going to say, is that Mitsubishi?
No, it's not Mitsubishi. Yeah, that's Mitsubishi's a bad one. But but the thing is, you know, they do in this day and age, like they are getting called out, and I think that's what's important. Like, especially, you know, there's been the whole, you know, movement for women and people of color, and those are going great. And like now you will get called out, and there are certain people in the scene that if they don't agree with it, they're gonna write on your post. I don't know if you're familiar with MC Chickaboo.
I'm not. Are you?
So MC Chickaboo.
Oh no.
MC Chickaboo is like an.
Sorry.
MC Chickaboo is an MC in the UK. She was, you know, people say that she was like one of the first women to ever pick up a mic. She's, you know, she was like there from like the birth of the scene. And she would say she's semi-retired now, but her role is to like she wants to like help the scene grow to be more accepting place. So whenever she sees like lineups which aren't diverse enough, she calls them out, and she calls them out big time, and she'll tell everyone. And she's part of the EQ50 program. And
nice.
She works, you know, she does lots.
I've probably seen her post in the EQ50 group, but maybe just as her personal name, and I haven't put it together because, yeah, I've seen a few of those posts where they'll share like a flyer and they're like, there's one female on this lineup of over 100 artists, or like there's only 2 females on this lineup. So yeah,
I think you showed me that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a new one today as well that I saw.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but
yeah,
really
totally.
cool
And I think, you know, it's good. It's good that there are those people now, like, pulling it out. Like, for me, it's a bit difficult because, like, it's, you know, like where I stand, like, there are just less people, you know, I guess the movement for people of color and women is more important at this point in time. But, like, you know, you're never really going to be able to get like a 50-50 queer lineup at this point in time, maybe in the future. But so, you know, I guess I'm not in such a position to do that. Good to book one queer person, but that's like a whole thing, you know, about the way events be going forward, like with bookings. Because I guess, like, for me, where I am with getting bookings and being a queer DJ, I only get bookings at the queer events. So there is suddenly like a rise of like the queer events. So like, for example, on Pride weekend, I've got like 3 bookings, but I don't really have very many bookings outside of that. Yeah. And I think that's really important because I think that some of the promoters some of the like regular promoters tracks that aren't like queer or any sort of movement, I would like to see them like book me, not because I want a booking, just because I think it's a powerful image for people to see a queen get up on stage and mix drum and bass just as well as, you know, a straight person.
Yeah.
And because, you know, in a way, like the drag thing is kind of, it's like a bit of a political message in a way.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I mean, I'd rather not do it if I didn't have to, because it takes 3 hours to get into it. You've got to walk in heels. You've got hair all in your face. No, I mean, I love it, obviously. Like, it's fierce and it's sassy as fuck. Like,
It must just be so much work to get and so much commitment to not only dress up but like spend a whole night like that and kind of do a job as well, like DJ.
This is our life. This is our life. This is
Yeah,
what we do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forget you.
I know. It made me laugh because when I did throw my first event, there was a DJ there who we went with again, but he was like to me, like after he did his set, he was like the first on there. I suppose there were like 10 people there. And after he did his set, he like sat in the green room, and I was like, "Guys, come and join the party," because I wanted to fill up the main space. I didn't want everyone to hang out in the green room. And he's like, "Can I just have 5 minutes just to sit down? I've just been DJing for the last hour." And I just looked at him and I said, I didn't say anything. I was like, "Okay, whatever." But I was just like in my head, I was like, "Honey, you try planning a whole event, getting into drag for 3 hours, walking all the way here in heels, and then wearing a wig and walking around the whole venue a whole night in this, plus DJing for an hour. Then tell me you're tired from your an hour set, 20 people."
Fucking sook. Like, you're standing there just like DJing. It's something you're passionate about. It's not fucking hard work.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a chore.
it's not a chore.
It shouldn't be.
God.
No, exactly. Like, I mean, you know, obviously there are some really DJs who spend like an hour curating amazing sets, and I think that's a big part of it, you know, but like, he wasn't playing like main stage of Glastonbury and been building up his whole like career to this point. He was literally just coming and playing the first set of my event.
Yeah.
And there wasn't many people there. So
Did you book him again?
Oh, you just.
I will not book him again.
Yeah.
But well, you know, you never say never. You know, like we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have just been a bad night. You know, we've seen that before in some DJs where they've been having like a diva moment, and then we're like, oh, okay, we won't book them again. But then you got to give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were stressed out, or you know.
I mean, sure. I've known this guy for quite a few years, and I just don't think he's ever liked me for reasons. Or maybe I think he is a bit sassy. Like, you know, some people are more so divas than the other, but. And that's not a reason not to book anyone, because especially if they're good. But,
yeah,
you know, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll see. You know, they might be a place.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So what are your plans for like where Unorthodox is going? Like, is it, are you looking to just keep doing events? Is there any other kind of ventures you're wanting to head into?
So I guess like, I think what's come of it, they're not going ahead, but there is the potential for us to like take over that couple of festivals.
Awesome.
And they were going to be like these big like 3-hour-long queer spectacles. We're going to have drag queens, club kids. We're going to have just queer musicians playing, some dancers. It was going to be great, but those festivals got cancelled because festivals seem to keep getting cancelled. / there wasn't budget for a couple of them, so that's not going ahead this year, sadly. But I think when I was planning that, like what became clear was that like it would just kind of be good to like be a bit of a middleman for queer artists in a way. So I quite like the idea of being a bit of a like agency / management for queer talent.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's going to be a great way for like doesn't exist right now, if that makes sense. I think that's going to be a great way for other queer artists to get exposure. Because now, when there seems to be a surge of, you know, queer promoters, people want more queer events, especially like moving over to drum and bass. So now, if they can come to me and be like, "We want you to play," I'm like, "Okay, cool. Well, I also manage this artist, and I can bring them all in and also help get them gigs."
Yeah.
So, and I'll be just with like festival missions, all sorts of things. So it's kind of like a way for like, you know, it does sound a bit terrible, like just, you know, having like all the queer things in one space, but it can help seem to grow like that. So when promoters come and be like, "We want to," or festivals, they come, they'd be like to me, "We want to work and have, you know, a queer edge to our shows and be more inclusive." I'm like, "Well, I can help you do that. Firstly, we represent this artist and this artist. We also have these drag queens we can bring. We have this talent we can bring, and we can put on a whole show for you." And that's just going to help the queer movement within drum and bass grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good way to support them, and you're representing them in a way. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I'd love to see drag queens and just and drum and bass at the same time. I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the closest thing would be the court, where they all come out after the show, but
Yeah.
that would be a fucking awesome performance.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool that, like,
Yeah.
if you just stick to, like, just representing the queer community, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, 100%. But, as I said, like, I'm not really getting bookings at the straight events, and that's obviously something that I really want to work on short term, because I think it's just seeing me in drag is just going to help it like move along a little bit.
Yeah.
People would be like, oh, this is cool, this works, this is all right.
Maybe give some people the confidence to do that themselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was in things like we don't want to just keep it in everyone else that this is okay and it's great and you can like drag queens and you can like queer culture and still not be queer. And that the thing is, we can also, there's just all this stuff you can bring into it. Like for me anyway, as I said, drum bass can sometimes be regimented, many shows, and you just find like it's DJ, sound system, lights, and that's about it. But the scene has progressed so far these days. Like it's also, you need to think about performance value. And shows are like coming in at like, well, in the UK, it's like £50 for like some of the biggest shows. And like, again, they have some really cool like light shows, to see some more performers or something a bit more interesting. And I think for me anyway, just coming from a sort of, event background, like that's the sort of thing I'd like to bring into my events and like see, generally more across the board, just, DJs putting a bit more effort in really.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will sit there and be like, well, it's just about the music, but like take all other genres, like where they do add a performance value.
Yeah.
Like
it just makes it so much more interesting, and it gives you a point of difference that you can market off as well. Like, you're going to potentially be the only crew that does this, so that's going to give you a massive advantage. And yeah, personally, like I love seeing different kinds of things at events. Like I've been to ones where there's been like artists doing painting stuff and raffles and all this cool shit, and it's just like, yeah, we're all there for the music, but it's cool to have other stuff on the side as well.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking
definitely, and I think like even the way you've seen like how festivals go, like people love it. Like I don't know what they're like in Australia, but in the UK, they're filled with actors and set design and all sorts of artistic installations, and people love it. But there's no reason why you can't bring that to your event as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's something that we're looking at, because we run events. We're still fairly like small, like we started like a year ago, and we're always looking at like what different things can we bring to our events, like how can we stand out from the other events, like otherwise it just becomes a bit stale and everyone's doing the same thing. Looking at different things.
We do like different genres. We'll have like halftime or like even dubstep sometimes, or even hip hop and house, so just to mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like that idea of like someone doing like live art or like some sort of graffiti there. That sounds great.
I really wanted to do that. That wasn't our show. I can't remember who that was, but that was so cool. Like, every now and then you just look over at the painter and like they're 3/4 of the way through, and it's like you can start to see what it is. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, no, that's epic. There's loads of stuff you can do. I think for me as well, like dancers could be more of a thing. Like, see when you go to like sort of like the bigger house events where like they decorate it nicely. They have lots of dancers and fiery and performers, but why can't you have that at drum and bass events as well?
Yeah,
I'd love to see that, because I've watched a few like of those big festivals, and they've got like dancers and people just like, going out into the crowd, and they're all part of it, and it just makes the experience so much more valuable.
Yeah, exactly. So in the UK, we've got an act called My Bad Sister. I don't know if you've heard about them.
I heard you talking about.
So they're epic. I've not actually met them, but I think I'm going to meet them later this year in an event. But basically, they're twins. They're twin sisters, and they're but they're also dancers. So they'll both have like synchronized like MT bars or like lyrics that they sing together or whatever. But at the same time, they can be like either side of the DJ and they're doing like a synchronized dance and wearing some crazy outfit.
Wow.
And like,
awesome.
that is epic. Like, that is like, for me, like, like it's just something completely different. Like they're still, they're not, it's not like necessarily, the thing about something like the fire stuff and just gimmicky. So for me, it's good to be like an actual drum and bass act, but that's doing something different.
Yeah.
So it's, and then we have a third sister who also does DJing and dancing as well. So them three together are great.
Fuck, that's so cool.
Two sisters, they're just epic. It's just, it's like a real thing to see. It's a spectacle, and I think it makes it more interesting. And there is the rise of that. Like there's someone called Nia Archive who does like vocals over sets. I don't know if you've heard any of her tracks. She's part of the EQ50 mentorship program.
Cool.
She's amazing.
What was the name, sorry?
Oh, Nia Archive.
We cut out a little bit there again, sorry.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I cut out. She's called Nia Archive.
Nia Archive.
Sounds familiar. I have to look it up.
And she's part of the EQ50.
Yeah, no, she's really good. She's part of the mentorship program, and she does. I have not seen her live, but her songs she sort of sings. But from what I understand, she like DJs, but also like sings the songs, and there's like a certain live element to it. And it's good to see that. I just want to see some new stuff, really.
Yeah, totally. Keep it fresh. Yeah, that's so cool.
Keep it fresh. Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
I also wanted to ask you what is the drum and bass scene like where you live? Because obviously the UK is like the home of drum and bass. Like it's pretty huge here in Perth, but what's the scene like, or what was it like before COVID?
So it's obviously huge. I live in London, so it actually varies where you go around like the country. So I lived in Brighton for a few years. I'm just sort of like getting into Bristol scene a bit as well. And it's quite different everywhere you go. So London is probably the biggest scene, and they have the biggest events because we have like Printworks, which is, I'm going to just search the code.
I've seen a couple of photos of Printworks. It looks fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like insane.
Yeah, no. Oh, it's a 5,000. And like there's like the rise of all that sort of thing at the moment. You've got Drum Chef, the same company who owns quite a few of these venues. And these are these big raves, and like, they fill it out pretty easily, but their tickets come in quite expensive, like £40-50, which is like, can be almost triple the price of like how events used to be priced. And so it's a big scene. I find the people in London are quite like London for me. I love London, but it's, when I talk about this whole like straight laced, like quite standard looking drum and bass, you get that especially in London. Like some of the raves you can go to, it's just loads of like fucked up kids. They're all wearing like football shirts and like hats, and they all look exactly the same. And like, I feel like it's just, there's like, when the thing is, I was saying when you go to like Brighton or Bristol, when you go to Brighton or Bristol, like it's a bit more like artsy, it's a bit more of an artsy element. People are dressed a bit more differently and a bit more fun.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But like London is just such a metropolis, like generally that's what people are like here. Like, it's just a sort of way of living. That's not to think it's just a little bit more like city life, like big city life.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining myself very well here.
No, I think it's interesting that you have this regiment style, like everyone kind of looks the same and dresses the same. It's so different to here, I think. Like everyone, there's kind of this thing that like drum and bass here is just like it's enjoyed by so many different types of people. Like you don't necessarily get that one typical drum and bass person in Perth.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive generalisation. It's not like you get 5,000 people all wearing exactly the same, but
that's exactly what I'm picturing.
There is an element of it.
Yeah.
But I think here's a good way to explain it. When you go somewhere like Bristol and Brighton, those are really big scenes for drum and bass, but it's very concentrated, and it's a much more like tight-knit scene when you go to like the smaller cities. But London is very vast, so you don't necessarily see the same people every single time. But you do get lots of different. Again, you still get like quite a variance of people from different backgrounds. But I don't know. I'm not explaining this very well. For me anyway, the Bristol and Brighton scenes, they're a bit more like fun and friendly.
Yeah, okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I can understand.
London can be people go there with their group of 10 mates and they're just there with their group of 10 mates.
Yeah, I understand that. Being just like a big city as opposed to somewhere like Bristol. Bristol's probably bigger than Perth, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, surely.
Yeah.
Like the concentration of like the population in the UK is crazy. So like we're quite spread out in Australia, whereas the UK is just like very tight knit.
Yeah.
You fit in
it's
small space.
we do fit everyone into the small space. It's a bit crazy, to be honest. Especially in London.
How often do you have, was there drum and bass events in the UK? Is it like every night, or is it like, because here it's kind of like on the weekends?
If you're in London and you wanted to, you could probably, like non-COVID times, you could probably find some sort of drum and bass event every night of the week.
Wow.
If you really wanted to. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean they're very good ones, but you can definitely find them. Or like a variant of like breakbeats or jungle, or even, dubstep if you're going to bring that into it. But it's a really big scene, and there's a shitload of promoters and there's a shitload of DJs, and it can be quite overwhelming. And like, for example, I've just done a couple of weeks ago, which is more like the sort of student side to it, which I'm like completely clocked out of, but it was quite interesting to go, I was at an event and I thought I might see, I know, but because it was on a weeknight, it just attracted all the students, so I didn't actually recognise anyone. Everyone was actually quite young, so that was interesting. They were just like little sub-scenes as well, or like certain types of events, or like if you're more into like footwork and jungle, then that's a whole different scene. And one of my friends took me to like a breakbeat scene again. It was just a whole different bunch of people. Actually, probably a bit friendlier than what you get from the drum and bass events. Don't know why, but they were.
Yeah.
There's lots of little sub-scenes of drum and bass again in London especially. So you can find an event every night of the week if you want. There are massive events on the weekends. But yeah, there's a lot going on here.
That must make it really hard to stand out and sort of create your own lane, right? Like, you've got a lot to compete with.
Yeah, 100%. And like, that's sort of like why I stopped doing it originally, because I was like, the point where I'd maybe doing it for like 2 or 3 years. I've had quite a few good gigs with, I worked with some like amazing promoters, and I worked some amazing festivals. But I just found like in terms of like the progression of like me as a DJ, it was really difficult because what am I doing? I'm playing the same songs as everyone else. I'm dressing relatively similar to everyone else. Like, what is going to make me stand out? And I find that quite frustrating, and I don't produce. Okay, so I want to do eventually, but I've never got down to it. Like, I'm more of an act. And I guess, you do have to do something to stand out in this day and age. You can't just be another DJ. Otherwise, you're going to do it for a few years and then stop doing it. Yeah. And, you just got to find an edge. And it's because it's so saturated, so many people just doing a very similar thing. Like, there's like, maybe like, 30 people who are the top dogs and like 50 like sub people who get like most of the support bookings. But, do well, you've got to stand out and do something different. And now I'm not saying you should go and dress for the but, bring a slightly different element to your set. Like, even the way you play, like I see a lot of DJs are very into this whole like hard roller double drop thing. And like, for me, I'm just a bit like, everyone's doing it. Like, why don't we see something a bit different? So there's loads of ways you can stand out, if that makes sense.
Totally, yeah. I see a lot of people doing that similar kinds of mixing, and it's just like, come on, man, just do you.
Yeah, I think the kind of overdone thing here is a lot of dance floor, just like a lot of like the same dance floor tunes. And like, I love dance floor, but when you have like 2 or 3 DJs in a row playing the exact same song, you're like, come on, like, switch it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, there's not that much dance floor here. There is. Like, if you go to like the right show, then yeah. If you go and see Wilkinson or Dimension, then yeah. But it will just be like a dance floor show. But those shows, because like here in the UK, there's not really any like lower band mid-band dance floor artists. It seems to be very much dominated by Subfocus, Wilkinson, and Dimension. And if you're going to get an artist, you're going to go to their shows. But for me, anyway, when I love dance floor, but when I do my sets, I I have it in waves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll go for I'll do a heavy double drop or rollers, but then I'll bring it out and bring it into dance or something that everyone knows. And you need to let people breathe a bit and you take them on a journey.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely.
It's got to be ebbs and flows. It's got to be a journey. Yeah.
Exactly. I also I put dubstep in. I put
sick.
old school queer classics in. You just got to keep it fresh, keep it different.
So cool. That must be hard to transition between the BPMs, right? You must have to do some trickery there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it can be. Yeah, I've got a little technique which kind of works.
Nice.
I'm always focusing because if you clang that, sounds good.
People are going to let you know about it.
Yeah.
You're going to ruin the illusion.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I was going to ask as well. So because you do a lot of vlogging and a lot of video content. So do you edit your own videos? Is that another kind of hobby of yours?
So this is relatively new thing, which sort of started towards the end of August, August last year. This is a whole separate storyline, but it's come together. So I've wanted to start a YouTube channel for years now, 2 or 3 years. I follow some amazing YouTubers. And I'm I want to do that. And but for me anyway, I had a camera and it wasn't a very good camera. So I decided I'm just going to spend a bit of dollar and get a really good camera so I can vlog myself and do some crazy stuff. And that's exactly what I did. And because I do my outside of DJing and stuff, I do graphic design, that sort of thing. So I had a bit of a sort of foundation. I've got a bit of an eye for looks and design and how the software works and stuff. So very quickly, I managed to get someone that just gave me an off gig, doing some video work. I was we need someone to film this, just come and film this. So I ended up filming it, and the video turned out really good. So they started giving me more work. So it turns out I'm now a videographer, and I do all the editing as well. So I don't know how that came to be, but it did. But the vlog, I do all the editing myself. That's a fun thing. Really wasn't quite sure the direction I wanted to go with the channel at first, but I think it's going to be a progression of me as I sort of grow as this queer drum and bass DJ and build UNORTHODOX. It's going to be a bit of a sort of vlog. We're going to have interview stuff, lots of stuff to do with the radio show, writing that we do. And there is that sort of urbex element as well. I haven't done that much of it, but the dream is to, I guess I've always been quite into abandoned buildings and stuff and just having a little look around. I haven't done that much of it, but I've always wanted to do more of it. So that's something I'm trying to get more into, but it's something quite difficult to bring that back to drum and bass. And I think that's the direction this channel is going in more. So I think, people are going to find it a bit weird if 1 second they're watching a Mandy Dexter interview, the next second I'm just breaking into some old warehouse.
Well, that is exactly what I did when I found your channel.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I went straight from the Mandy Dextras to the Urbex, and I'd never heard of Urbex before. And I was
same.
what is this? And I searched on YouTube Urbex, and it looks fucking sick. And it made me think there's an abandoned power plant just down the road from us, maybe 15 minutes. So I want to go check it out. That'll be fun.
The camera.
Go to it. I've always been. I'm quite a dark person, so I like the idea of these abandoned places and haunted shit and stuff like that. I like being a bit on edge or a bit scared of these places.
Yeah.
It is a bit scary watching that video. It was a bit oh shit, is there going to be I don't know, some squatters or some crazy people?
Yeah, that's the thrill you get as well, though. You're opening the door, is anyone going to be there? It's fucking terrifying, but it's a thrill to be in a horror movie. It's a bit of a thrill. I guess for me, with the progression of that, it's going to be about how I can bring that into the drum and bass thing a bit more. Apart from playing drum and bass tracks, but I guess I might do some more live streams from band locations.
Ooh,
and I thought perhaps, I'll take a random artist with me to go explore some abandoned place, and we'll just walk and talk and do some funny shit.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
again, you got to be quite nimble for that as well. You got to be able to climb and jump through windows and shit. And if the police come, got to be able to some.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a bit sketchy, hey. Oh, I mean, it'd be really cool to see like that as a way to interview people, like, you know, like break into an abandoned thing and just you're interviewing them as you go and just having a casual chat, but the juxtaposition of being in this really spooky place. I think that would be really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. That is something I'd love to do. It's about finding the right location, the right artist.
Yeah.
You know, you got to plan these things. That's something I'll get to. YouTube's like just a bit slow at the moment, but I think when I have a bit more time, I'm gonna like really push for it and start doing videos every week and getting some really good content out. But like, I also want to use it as a way to travel as well. Like, excuse me, as a way to travel. I have a dream of sort of like going to like the States or even Australia and sort of touring around and vlogging it. But as I go around to all the different cities, I find the cultures and like get into them and like take videos of the events and interview people and find out more about the scenes and like all around the world.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's like the David Attenborough of the DNB scene.
Yeah, something like that.
See all the local creatures.
Yeah, well, if you come to Perth,
I'll be.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I want to get everywhere eventually, but I think it's also going to be a good way for like when I get bookings as well, I'll sort of vlog the journey. So I'm doing a show up in Leeds that I'm headlining later this year on the 9th of June, July, I think.
Awesome.
That's
9th of July. 9th of July. So, and I said to them, you know, I'll vlog it as well because they're doing a queer event. It's called Drag and Bass and in Leeds. Cool. And I said, you know what, like, I'll vlog it. So I was sort of doing my whole journey from like here, getting all my shit together, making sure I've got everything, getting in the car, getting into drag, getting to the gig, videoing to gig, talking to the promoter. And then I'll turn that into a whole vlog. And then that helps with like their exposure too, plus mine.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's mutually beneficial for like these queer gigs. And then I've got another gig straight after. We're doing a show in Bristol. We're doing Brighton Pride show at Motion. And I'll sort of vlog the whole journey to that as well. And it's gonna be a crazy weekend. I don't quite know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm sure it will come together somehow.
So busy.
Yeah. Well,
it's gonna be one hectic weekend.
Yeah, the way that you edit your videos, I love. I think it's so like drum and bass. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like it just fits in with the whole drum and bass aesthetic.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. which bit specifically?
So like the vlog where you went to Brighton to go do the radio show, just like the way that kind of, like the transitions, that was all kind of like glitchy and. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah. I think I've got a bit of an eye for it, and like that's where I want it to look. You know, it's kind of a bit like there aren't really any drum and bass vloggers. You know, some of them make some YouTube videos, but like none of them like kind of go beyond like getting out and actually going to do stuff while traveling around. Yeah. And I think that's something I've obviously love watching kids. I love watching the Urbex kids. I love watching the people who travel around the world, but you know, there's never like a relation to drum and bass, and we're playing like shitty like stock music in the background. So, and that's another thing as well. Like the music I choose in it, I want to like we'll build it up. I'd hope eventually we'll send music in, and I feature it on the video and put like some clips to it. Yeah,
that's a really cool idea. It's another way to get some new artists out there and some queer artists as well. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Sick.
I think there's lots of potential with the channel, and I'm super excited, like, you know, where it's going to go. It's quite difficult to plan these videos sometimes, though. Like, it can be quite a lot, like, especially if you're doing it with other people, getting people in the same place. It would be easier if I had someone like doing, you know, with exactly the same idea as me. Because a lot of these like YouTubers have like they're always with like a crew who is also doing video for their same channel. A bit like how you two are doing a podcast together, like, you know, you're going to do the podcast together, so it works. But I don't have like a direct person doing something similar to me, so it's quite difficult to like get other people involved in it who aren't like necessarily that into it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's like it's quite hard, even like because we've tried getting together like interviews with our podcast a few times, and there's been like last minute cancellations and
last minute lockdowns.
Last minute lockdown, yeah, we had that a couple of weeks ago as well, and it can be a bit tricky when you have to try and like rely on someone else.
So there's a lot of work that goes into it, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like with any of these things, like people think like with the videos, like I sit here for hours editing and making it come out. I'm sure you guys do the same with the podcast to get like the finished outcome. It takes a while to put all these things together, you know.
We're doing it.
People don't realize sometimes the work that goes into it. You know, that's why some of these, you know, you see a lot of these YouTubers, they do it as full-time jobs because they get paid, but it is a full-time job. Like trying to get people organized, trying to get to places, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a huge effort, and for like, you know, a 10 to 15 minute video, it's crazy how much actually goes into it. How much it just
and like, you know, like even like that Brighton vlog, like people don't realize like that was about like 6 hours of footage that has to put into like 10 minutes. So it takes hours just to even like select the bits you want, and then, you know, like color grade it, do the transitions, get the music. It takes time. People don't, you know, I mean, some people obviously know, but, you know, it's time consuming. And like, obviously I'm in a process of trying to quit my day job at the moment. So I have a bit more time to work on all the creative things that I want to do. But, you know, life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. Same here.
Exactly.
What's your day job? Is it the graphic design, also the videography?
So no, that's going to be like, so my day job is, I work at an events company, but it's not like music events, it's sort of like corporate events, and I do their like graphic design for them.
Oh, cool.
So it's been interesting for a few years. I've learned a lot of stuff, but you know, I think I don't really want a full-time job anymore. So the videography thing that sort of brings in the money, I guess, and it's going to support me because it's actually way less time consuming. Just, you know, you go do like a few gigs a month and you got enough to live on and enough to support everything else. Just a case of building up the clients, I guess. But yeah, I'm just trying to leave my job really. I don't want to work full time anymore. There's no time to do like anything like this. Yeah. But, I mean, I should be working now, but it's fine. I'm working from home, so I don't know shit.
Nice. Stick it to the man.
Yeah.
We both work as well, and like it's so hard to get anything done after work on the weekends. We all got lives, and we all got shit to do. And you got to relax as well.
It takes it. Exactly. It takes it out of you, you know, like what? I'm just sitting at a desk doing a bit of graphic design, but like mentally it takes it out of you, and you just don't have like the capacity to go ahead and, you know, plan all this stuff and email 100 people and, you know, go film this. You know what I mean? You know, you need to relax as well, you know.
Yeah.
We're humans at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And did you design the website, the Unorthodox website?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do all the little branding bits for it.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Far out.
So talented.
Oh, thank you so much. I think the website's like, it's an interesting thing. It doesn't actually get that many views ever. Like I'm always looking down the list and it's like 3 people there, and I'm like, oh, what's the point? But I think it's important because it's like a sort of like resource book as well. People want to learn about like what it means to be queer, and I've just added a bit of all of our like interviews and radio show stuff as well. So it is quite a useful thing to have, and I hope it will come in handy like later down the line as well.
That's like your hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, obviously you got like your stream and Instagram and like you got on Facebook, but you're very like limited to like sort of content you can put on those platforms. So I think that's why websites are useful. Really, you know, they're quite easy to make it on. I did mine on Squarespace.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and with
sign up to Squarespace for 10%. Do you ever see those? Like, you know, when you watch YouTube videos, they're always like, sign up to Squarespace now for 10% off.
Click the link in the description.
Click the link below. The sponsored video.
Like and subscribe.
You should be sponsored.
Like and subscribe. Remember to get a Squarespace page.
And I was going to ask, like, do you have any other kind of hidden talents? Other than like the DJing, the graphic design, videography, all that sort of stuff?
I'm really good at DIY, which might come to most people's surprise.
Yeah,
I can do any of it. You want me to paint your house, fit some new lights? I'm there. I'll do it.
That's so cool.
I think people always get the idea I'm some sort of like, because I often when I come out I'm dressed in my jewelry and I'm wearing a shirt, my hair's done and my makeup's done, I think I'm like, you know, some princess. But no, I like to get like, you know, down and dirty. I like to go break in some buildings and build a home, you know.
That's sick.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
Harley's getting a bit
I'm very
DIY.
good with my hands.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm getting into my DIY as well because we just bought a house. So I'm like, what can I do? Like, how can I make this my own? You know? It's so much fun.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is fun. It's not that difficult, you know. Like,
no.
Well, I mean, some people are just terrible at it, but
yeah. I've definitely like failed projects, and it's a bit like, it's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine if you're not that good at it, because it comes with, like, from being good at it, it comes with its drawbacks. So now every time someone needs something relatively technical done, they're like, Toby, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm trying to like work a job and like run some like queer events and stuff. So I look like I've got time to change a light bulb up. Like. So don't worry, it's a good thing if you're not good at these.
Yeah, I'm dodging a bullet, I guess.
Okay, now another thing I wanted to ask you about, because obviously the UK was hit a bit harder with COVID than we were here. What changed in your life when COVID like kicked off? So did you have to stop working? What was the experience like for you?
Well, we have this thing called the furlough scheme in the UK, and do you guys know about that?
No.
So basically, the government proposed a scheme where, like, if you're employed by a business, what you can do is you can put, you know, because obviously I work in events, there's not going to be any events. So a business like that, they can furlough their staff, and the government pay 80% of. Basically, I didn't have to work, and I got paid 80% of my salary by. I don't know how they can afford it, but they did that for everyone basically. Wow. It didn't really work out that well for freelance or musicians until like a bit later on down the line. But I was lucky in a way because I was employed in this job, and they said, well, there's nothing for you to do, so you go on furlough, you're going to get 80% from the government. And that kind of suited me. And luckily, it was really fucking hot last year. So I just spent a good 2 or 3 months in the sun, sunbathing. So I guess I haven't had it as hard as some people. But, you know, I guess, you know, there's also the emotional side of it as well. Like I don't know what's wrong with me now, but I've definitely got some sort of mental health problem, which I didn't have before. But, you know, I think it's just from being locked down. And this whole year, everything's changed so much. Like, there's been so many political movements. It's like a lot to take in. Yeah. And now, like, everything's coming back to normal in the UK. Like, it's just, like, really high pressure. Like, it's like going into a new world. It's like being birthed again and, like, learning everything new. And, like, obviously, I'm a very different person because the lockdown has given me the chance to build unorthodox and explore who I am, because if you look before that, sorry, one sec, I think it's just water. Before that, I worked full time and I wasn't happy. And as I said, I wanted to go back into drum and bass and not just be working and getting really fucked at gay clubs every weekend. And, you know, although it's been like emotionally quite straining, this pandemic, it's also given me the time and space to like build unorthodox and like develop it into something. So it's a love-hate thing for me. Like, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Like, it's been like one of the most important years of my life in a way. Like, I find, you know, what I kind of want to do, and I'm seeing a bit of a picture, and I'm doing something different, unorthodox, and I feel like I've built something important and relevant that's needed right now. So it's been a very good year for me. Like, I have found it fucking tough. I still find it tough now. But you know, it's coming out the other end, and I'm feeling a bit better, like, day by day. Like, but I'm kind of happy I've had this year. It's just giving me a chance to stop and have a think and do what I want.
Yeah,
it sounds like you got something good out of a bad situation, and
and I've been lucky. Like, you know, I don't take it for granted at all. Like, I was in a great position with this furlough scheme, and you know, I live with my family, so it's been quite chilled, I guess. It's been a bit tough at times, but, you know, on the whole, I've had it pretty good, I guess.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I think, like, with the amount of time that you guys were locked down, like, it's so easy to believe that you would have, you know, it's like some issues, like going back to normal life after all of that. Like,
yeah. And the world is such a different place now as well.
Yeah, it's everything's different. Like, it's really great going out again. I absolutely love it. But, then I've been like going out too much and getting too on it, and then that doesn't help me as well. So then I feel rubbish from that. But that first month when we first came out of lockdown was a bit crazy. I don't remember what happened, to be honest. But it was a bit of a blur. But so now it's been going back to like trying to take it easy again, learning that you can't just go out and get fucked every single night just because you haven't had it for the past year. So that's sort of another element to it. But it is great, it's great to sort of get back to it. I can't wait for like the first real rave. I'm going to one this weekend actually, but it's still socially distanced, sadly. It's still not like a big fuck off rave where you can stand at the front and like get sweaty and into it.
For you guys, the socially distant gigs, socially distant. Oh my god. Socially distanced gigs. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're seated or just there's a capacity limit? Yeah. You're seated. Yeah. Okay.
They have tables of 6, and like you have to stay sat down. And you see, this is my problem. I can't sit down. Like, I've never been one to sit down. So like, I generally try and avoid them because whenever I do go, I end up getting kicked out because I won't sit down. Or actually, to be honest, I went to one in Bristol recently and I ended up taking my camera. So I was like, I'm the photographer. I can stand up.
Oh, nice. That's a good little loophole.
Yeah, it didn't really work. It didn't really go down that well because they were like, you need a wristband. And I was like, oh. So I managed to get a wristband and then I ended up taking a few pictures.
Oh, nice. So that's awesome.
Maybe I'll take my camera again on Saturday, to be honest.
And just take some generic wristbands, some red, yellow, green. You're bound to have...
Yeah, I'll bring one of every colour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of them will be there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been seeing videos from, I follow a lot of DJs and producers in the UK, and I've been seeing videos of the raves and everyone's sitting at their tables and everyone's just like bouncing around, just itching to get up.
And everyone's trying to go crazy to like squat it down. Yeah. It's like a really like motion. Like it's kind of depressing, but you know what? It's keeping the scene going.
Yeah.
Like artists are getting bookings still. People are getting out somewhat.
Yeah.
Promoters are getting, being able to drop events. So it's keeping the scene going in a way, and it's better than nothing, let's put it that way.
And the venue and staff are able to make money again as well, which is nice, of course, without them.
Yeah, I think a couple of people have got it right. But again, actually, this rule was just changed as of yesterday. These social distance raves had to be outside. So if these venues don't have big gardens, they'd be fucked.
Wow.
But as of yesterday, we're now allowed to do social distancing inside.
Hey.
So
awesome.
Yeah, so I think some of the bigger venues are going to open again with tables now, and then we've only got until I'm pretty sure it's the end of June, end of June, and then it's all gone, and then we're supposedly back to normal. No. But everyone's going on about this Indian variant or something. So maybe not.
Yeah, I guess it just these days everything's just kind of like take it with a pinch of salt. Like you just have to wait and see how things go. We've been pretty sheltered here in Perth. Like we haven't really had too much of a breakout since the start. We've because our borders have been closed. But every now and then we'll have a little snap lockdown because there's been a confirmed case and. We kind of get reminded, it's still a really big problem. It's still out there.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. My friend's in Australia. So hi, Leah, watching. She's in Australia. I'm very jealous of her because she was like, I don't know what to do. I think I'm just going to come home because it's all locked down here. But now she stayed, and now she's just living it large. And I'm just so jealous. Stuck at home and weather here. I don't know what the hell is going on because it was like sunbathing weather in April last year, and we're now in May and it rains every day here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
What? Yeah,
that sucks.
We're getting shafted a bit with the weather as well. Hey.
We really can't complain.
We can't complain.
We had a lot of sunshine.
Yeah, I just hate the cold. I'm such a little bitch.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to many festivals?
We haven't had a festival in a while because we're not allowed to have festivals yet. I mean, there's been a couple of small ones, but not really any kind of drum and bass festivals.
There's some weird rules around festivals here at the moment. You can't have a stage or a visible stage, and any groups of people get broken up pretty quickly. So basically, we can't do festivals at the moment. But yeah, there was a few really big drum and bass ones, like Origin and Breakfest are a couple of big ones that Perth people will know all about. But yeah, just haven't had the chance to do them since 2019.
Yeah.
2020
but
years.
There's some pretty big events going on though at the moment, because you've got Wilkinson's over there, AMC's over there.
Yeah.
Turno.
Are they coming to Perth?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I don't think Wilkinson's coming.
They are.
I mean, he's playing in New Zealand at the moment, but surely he's going to come to Perth.
Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, because they're all like sort of going to New Zealand because I don't think they have to. Oh no, they have to quarantine there. So yeah, but they're allowed to go there and then come across the ditch to us in Australia, and they don't have to quarantine once they've come over at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a really good way. It's like working out brilliantly for the scene and everyone. Basically.
I think you're not even allowed to travel here.
Yeah, you're
like
not.
From the UK.
Our international borders are closed.
Yeah.
Except for New
so
Zealand.
they have to go to New Zealand first and then come here. Which
Oh, is that what they're doing? I know I've been watching them on their stories. I know they're like quarantining for like 2 weeks. I think they're out though. I've just seen them out. I've seen them like all together, like Benny L, Turno, like living it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see them.
So jealous.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why am I still here stuck doing nothing? But yeah, it's reality.
We are very broke right now. We've got tickets to Benio and Inja, K9 and Turno, and then AMC's coming. And
yeah, we had to make some very adult decisions of which ones to not go to because
they're not cheap. Yeah, tickets are like $70, like first release, and if you're not quick, then you miss out and you have to spend more. So, yeah.
Shit's crazy.
That's our struggle right now.
Yeah.
First world problems.
First world problems, man. Yeah.
But yeah, the last thing I wanted to touch on was just get a bit of a perspective from you. Like how can promoters, like us and other promoters, how can we promote more of like an inclusive culture with our events? Is there like, I don't know, do you have any kind of suggestions?
I've seen like some events sort of posting on their like Facebook event pages or being like, this is a totally inclusive event. We don't accept any discrimination or being, do you know what I mean? Just doing a little post about it or saying something like that. And obviously, you know, there is the whole idea of, you need to actually book a varied lineup. That's, a given. But I guess in terms of like, I think just what you publicize, being like, we're open to all people, like, because it's not like drum and bass is being closed to gay people. It's just never really given a sort of open vibe. And like, I ask my gay friends that I have who aren't in drum and bass, I'm like, do you want to come to drum and bass rave? And they're like, they say it sounds scary. Like, they don't, do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like safe for them.
Yeah.
Because it does come across as a very like macho thing, even with like a lot of like the artwork and just like the whole aesthetic. It's not really like such a queer vibe coming from it. So I guess it's, you can make sure it's marketed a bit to like tailor everyone, if that makes sense. That could be an important thing.
Yeah.
I guess obviously booking queer artists, maybe if you have queer friends, like getting them involved and asking people's advice. Because I guess like, there's such a thing of like, when these big sort of corporations make like mistakes and they put out something which comes across very racist or very misogynistic or very homophobic, and they don't mean to, but sometimes you can like, it's good to sort of ask people from those backgrounds their opinions as well, and like, what you can do to make it better. I guess if you're asking me, but even just like things like skimming over a line up or something, and or like a piece of text and being like, how does this sound like you?
Yeah, awesome. That's really good insight. Because like we do our best to try and make it like an inclusive environment with our events. So like one of the events that we've got a recurring event at the moment, and we promote it. Like the kind of slogan is like, wear what you want, be who you want. Like we're here for the music and the vibe. So we try to like kind of push it in that way. Like everyone's welcome.
I love that.
Yeah, like be your true self. Do whatever the heck you want. Obviously,
We've had some
as long
good
as it's
feedback from that as well, which is really nice. We've had some people say, I felt really safe there, and like I could dance as gay as I want.
Yeah,
that's like so nice.
Yeah, that's
really
good.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's good. Well, it sounds like you guys are like pretty on it with that. Like, I just don't think, there's like much of that promoters who just don't really care, and they're just like, if they're bigger promoters, they're just focused on getting their events back, or some of them just aren't interested. Like, I was at an event and I ended up speaking to the promoter, and I was like, oh, hey, I do this and this and this. He just didn't really care. He was like, okay, whatever. He's like on his own path and can't even think about it. And that's like the attitude of a lot of people, you know, but it's important to, you know, it's about creating a new scene. Like, it's come so far, like drum and bass, like, well, we're just gonna like let it die out because it's not like accepting. Because, you know, the thing is, I think, like, for me anyway, like, I feel like every generation is getting more woke. Like, even I speak to kids recently, and I said a word, and they're like, you can't use that word. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I think, you know, people are getting more and more woke, and like, people aren't gonna like be involved in drum and bass if it doesn't come across with that attitude that, like, you can be gay, you can be trans, you can be whoever you want to be. You know, I think it's just important for its future, really. Like, otherwise it's going to die. It's going to be like, oh, it's an old, outdated thing now where people aren't very nice.
Yeah, it's like if things don't move with the times and appeal to the next generation, then they just become
fall off.
They just become something that old, jaded, racist people.
Yeah,
100%. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. It sounds really cool, and we'd love to have you if you ever come to Perth. Come chill out with us.
Yeah, no, well, you know, obviously I'd absolutely love to come at some point, but, you know, I think I've got a few more stepping stones before I can come play in Australia.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, we want to come to the UK.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. You stay with me. We're going to rave it up. We'll get some events, do some crazy shit. We'll do a stream. We'll play on the deck. Well,
I want to do some urban exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that too.
I might have to get a bit more fit first if we need to outrun the cops or something. Or
We'll work on it.
Yeah, I'll work on it. Yeah.
But
yeah, 100%.
Anything else you wanted to plug? Anything you've got coming up other than your gig in July?
Yeah, we've got, I guess what we're doing, we've got, if anyone watching in the UK, we are doing the Tunnel at Motion for Bristol Pride on the 10th of July. So get your tickets. They're already pretty sold, getting like towards selling out. So cop it ASAP. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And then if anyone's sort of in Leeds area the night before, I will be playing a show. And then London, we have a show. It's actually not planned yet, but it might be in August. So for you London people. And give us a follow at UNORTHODOX Events, or myself is at @TheNathan_X. Just follow our stream for our outlets and just show us a bit of love. We'll love you back.
Yeah.
And we can put all of that in the description.
We will. We'll share it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so nice to talk to you. Love what you're doing. Love your energy. I'm going to keep watching all the videos and follow you on your social media.
Oh, guys, thanks so much. Like, honestly, it's great chatting to you guys over on the other side of the world. Crazy. But yeah, keep safe, guys. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you too, man. Take care. And all the best with
all right. See you guys very soon. I can't wait to see the interview, see how this comes out.
Same.
Fingers crossed it's all good.
All right.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on that journey. That was fun. What do you reckon, Nodus?
Yeah, that was a rootin' tootin' good time.
I think that was great. What an interesting human with a lot of cool stories and cool insight and
doing good things.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Apologies for any random dog noises. We're working on it.
They're getting better.
Right on cue. I think it's more interesting anyway. What do you reckon? If you think they're very annoying, then please let us know. Leave a comment. If you love it, let us know. Leave a comment.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share and all that good shit. It really helps us out. So, we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye.